Lovelies, there's nothing that stirs the blood quite like a troll chef, or a good beat 'em up, and the reason for the latter is simple. Who among us can get through the day without wanting to punch somebody as hard as we can in the fuck ugly scab farm they call a face? Party pooping bullshit like the law and sheer cowardice prevent many of us from fulfilling our violent desires, which is just where games about fighting step in. Why just punch somebody in the face when you can deliver a brutal series of uppercuts to their neck and head before hurling them through a phone booth? How many more times would your boss pass you over for that promotion with his head pile driven into his cock socket? Where's my train ticket? Where's your spine, you godless railway Nazi? I am the Fragnostic, and I welcome you to a brand new monthly series all about slapping the screaming crikey out of any bastard that isn't you. Confrontationally entitled, You what, son? You want me to put my drink down? Take my fucking slippers off? Oh, I don't think you do, lad. You don't know what I fucking stepped in. Our first title to lead this young and deeply angry program out into the wilderness was released in May of 1989, then famously ported to the Sega Genesis mere days before Christmas. It embraced the original spirit of the holiday season, values that held true long before the Christians sunk their claws into the winter solstice, long before any man, woman or child was around to do so, back when the dinosaurs celebrated Christmas by not wearing any clothes and killing each other. Golden Axe was Sega's retort to the revolutionary Double Dragon, released 2 years prior, and was the very first true arcade-style beat-em-up to take place in a fantasy setting. But this is not a series where we gather idly by the title screen chatting like feeble grandmothers. This is a series where the barman will not serve you because you are drunk. On his blood! Let's meet the cast. Who is this raven-haired tower of man, begarbed in the azure trunks and booties of a sadness gnome? Conan the Axe Battler, the barbarian, of course. Inquire ye not as to why he doth require a belt to hold up his underwear. His mother was killed by death equals adder. What name possesseth this fierce maiden who hath mirrored the cups of her battle bra so that you might see yourself die screaming in her tit? It can only be Red Sonja, Tyrus Flare, the Amazon. She is in no mind to discuss the deaths of her mother and father at the hands of death equals adder with one such as you. Her mood is as black as the hog salad she hath accidentally cremated with her dread pyromancy. Guess thee the identity of this fierce fellow in his darling green summer dress and come hither thigh boots. Why, it's Santa Claus, Julius Thunderhead, the dwarf. Have thyself a bloody crack at who murdered his brother. Go on. What's that you say? Death equals adder is correct, young butter knight. How on earth didst thou know? Wizardry? Wizardry. It is darkest wizardry. Thou hast been gifted the black sight by a pond hag. Gods! And here, looking for all the world exactly like the kind of person that would kill your parents, your grandparents, your brothers, sisters, pets, milkmen, neighbours, an entire roster of childhood friends, classmates and casual acquaintances, not for any real reason, just because his immediate reaction to clapping eyes on another human being is to feed them to his axe, is death equals adder. Fuck thee not with any man with an unsolvable equation for a name. Well, now we know who we're playing as and who's going to get stabbed in the face, let's begin by picking ourselves an avatar of annihilation. I think I'll play Tyrus today. I haven't played Tyrus in a long old time. Golden Axe kicks off with some cripple abuse and the first notes of an absolutely first-class soundtrack. I'm not going to attempt to keep up with the text here and move so goddamn quickly, but the gist of it is that he is called Alex, Death Adder has kidnapped the king and queen, and now Alex's miserable medieval life is at an end. Which it would have been soon anyway, with life expectancy being what it was back in those days. Now there are 3 ways to hurt shit in this game. Beat the crap out of it with a hand-to-hand attack, melt the face off of it with some sweet-ass magic, or break the game with it by riding one of the obscenely overpowered mythical steeds that will just win everything for you ever. Take a dirt bath, you furry-mouthed dweeb. Here's a child. Punish him! He'll drop your pots to fuel your magic meter at the top of the screen there. Fight the one untouched by the ginger curse, thou bollock-faced arse-mole! Ha! How loyal thy chicken leg is to thee! Why, he is as loose of moral as the night whores of Horopolis! Now you may have fought these adorable creatures before in the game Altered Beast, a title I have an incredibly toxic relationship with. Why are they called chicken legs? Well, because this is what chickens look like in this universe. That's why there's no egg industry in Golden Axe. The Coroner's Guild was overrun. But they're called chicken legs, you're saying to me. It's a nickname. It's an affectionate... You know how you go to your wife. Alright, sexy legs. You know you say that to your wife, or your teacher, or your grandma. All of your wife is sexy, but you're just singling out the legs. Unless it really is the case that your wife's legs are the only attractive part of her, in which case you have my sympathies. Like, everything from the arse up looks like somebody mocapped Steven Seagal onto a talking monkey. The fuck? You think you're playing at? Wah! Get him on a register for Christ's sake, before some poor chicken leg winds up pregnant with an abomination. Our sworn enemy Death Adder is in his castle. We'll take a shortcut through the Turtle Village. And you see on the map plotting as we go that these idiots have confused the term shortcut with gap year sightseeing tour. You'd have seen me lay down some sweet fire magic to take care of the giants at the end of the last level. Now the big advantage of playing Tyrus in this game is that her magic meter is twice the size of anybody else's, which means it takes a lot longer to fill up the whole way, but when you do, Mother Mary, you can half kill Death Adder with a wave of your hand. And as you hopefully cottoned on in the character demos at the start of the video, each of your warriors commands a different element. Axe Battler can summon earthquakes, Julius uses lightning, and our girl here is a talented arsonist, and you'll see that the meter is divided into numbered sections, each of which take a varying number of pots to fill up, depending on who you're playing as. Look, this arsehole loves kicking peasants in the head so much that he's completely oblivious to the fact that I now have a dragon. That's third-degree burns on 74% of her body now. A lifetime of medieval reconstructive surgery and general shunning awaits. Oh, you picked the wrong day to exist in my line of sight, you little Asian hobbit. So, Golden Axe gets a bit of stick for its fighting system. Some have called it clunky and deeply unfair, to which the correct response is, it's pretty damn old and you don't understand attack priority. Another advantage of playing Tyrus is that, like a lot of the female characters you got to play in these early beat-em-ups, she's very fast. Like all women. Fast to spend your money, am I right fellas? Fast to wear stupid looking shoes and talk about her feelings on things that aren't sports or pleasuring me in the bedroom, or maybe on the sofa if I'm too piss drunk to get up without shitting down my leg. Here's the Green Thief. He's just like his brother, except he steals food instead of magic pots. We're not hungry right now, but that's no reason not to slap him in his fuck ugly mouth. Don't worry, they're too stupid to have feelings like you or I. What kind of thief color codes themselves to let you know what they're gonna steal? The village was on the back of a giant turtle. The turtle takes us south, across the sea. Imagine that shit. You find a nice location to build your village, you chop down, mine and harvest all the necessary building materials, spend a year putting the damn thing up, and then right as you put the finishing touches on it, a head pops out the end of the fucking thing, and it drags you off into the middle of the sea. Fuck! Damn thee, Elder Johan! Must we flee from another result of thy piss-awful location scouting? First active volcano village, then the forest of rage phalluses, then... What came after that? Death World. Death World! I mean, even if the very air itself wasn't turning our loved ones into unkillable ultra ghouls, why didst thou name it Death World? Well, I briefly considered World of Death, but 'tis already a realm, and I didn't want our post getting lost. Whoa, ease off. There's no toilets down there, they're the other way, they're the other... We're all maxed out with magic now, so once we punish these giants, who probably just got through having a whale of a time wiping their asses on some poor bastard's curtains, I'd unleash some pain on the level boss. Thou hast soiled the wrong plebeian's linen this day, ye bloated oaf. Ho ho, I have signed their beds with my feculence. Ah fuck! 'Tis a dragon strumpet! Perhaps death will teach thee some manners, villain. Ah, my groin! A flame! Looking for somewhere to fill thy sack, deplorable? Then fill it in the devil's river while you burn in hell! You know, when I started this channel with the whole Holy Night thing, I was going to try and roleplay all the commentary like a haughty medieval knight. Like many of my ideas, I fantasized about it for months before becoming exhausted by the concept of it, but I guess I have some sort of outlet for it now at least. Some people drink, some do drugs. I need to talk like a medieval knight every now and again. Sue me. You offend the mother of dragons and the penalty is horrifying slow-roasted death! What's this? Be still, delicious one. There you go. See, that's what you get for playing Tyrus. Your own living 70-ton flamethrower. More than worth the trade-off of playing a feeble woman. Said Sega while designing her. I didn't say anything. We have come in close vicinity of the castle, but the way is packed by enemy lines. We must dare the fiend's path to reach the castle. So yeah, seeing as this is the first episode in a series where it's going to be important, let me take the time to explain the phrase attack priority to you for anybody that's not familiar with it. I'll try to be as least condescending as I can here because there is a good chance a lot of you wouldn't be familiar with that mechanic if you're not huge into beat 'em ups or fighting games in general. That's exactly what it sounds like. Let's say me and you punch each other at the same time, but only my punch hits and does any damage. And why is that? Probably because I'm nearly 6'8" and have twice the reach that you do, but for argument's sake, let's say that you've triggered your second form and you're the same size as me. Now it's because my attack has a higher priority than yours, so as long as you continue to try and use your same move against my same move, you're going to come up short. Now the same applies here. You'll notice that I'm managing to use my bread and butter combos quite easily with Tyrus, and that's thanks to her higher attack priority. Now she might be physically weaker than both Axe Battler and Julius, but she's very difficult to outpace. And normally it's a lot more of a toss-up in this game. You can go in, try and combo an enemy, but if you're a few frames too early or you miss with your first swing, they will counter it and slap the piss out of you. And you'll see that a lot more if you're playing as either of the fellas here, where you'll be forced into using a lot more of the moveset more regularly, like your jumping slashes, your shoulder barges and so forth. Now when we get to these bastards here, things become much riskier, as we have the traditional palette swap of an enemy signifying that they now have racial damage bonuses. But this game mixes it up by raising their attack speed and priority as well, so even playing as Tyrus, it's a lot safer to take them out with a jump slash or two. Do you get the feeling you've heard those death screams before? Because if you've seen the first Rambo movie, First Blood, you sure have. That's the sound of that stupid son of a bitch Deputy Gout falling out of the helicopter after trying to snipe Rambo from it. There's a couple of other cheekily borrowed vocal effects here too. When the villagers were screaming and running away at the beginning of the second stage, it's from the werewolf attack in An American Werewolf in London. And there are various other death howls pinched from what else? Conan the Barbarian, which, according to Golden Axe's lead producer, Makoto Uchida, was an enormous influence on the game, along with a lot of Tolkien, apparently. A lot of character, enemy and creature design was heavily aided by sketches and illustrations from a range of Middle-earth sourcebooks that Uchida ran out and bought during development. God damn, we cooked the shit out of their goose, didn't we? Give it back. Right now. Plus whatever else you got. You little fuck! I need it more than you. Got a kingdom to free. Go masturbate behind a shrub or something. The fiend's path was a great, great eagle. We are taken across the skies to the castle. Now the final battle begins. Can't you just see that though? Can't you just see yourself tripping over one of them in the woods, looking back just in time to see it scurrying into the tree line with its pants around its ankles, angrily cramming its wank mags back into its sack? It's Tolkien canon. It's in the Silmarillion, I swear. Or no, the History of Middle-earth. The 12-volume History of Middle-earth. You can get away with saying anything's canon and then blame it on the History of Middle-earth. My fucker's gonna sit and check through all that. The Elder Johan's been at it again. Elder Johan, thou hast built the only road to market upon the spine of an enormous bastard eagle. Thou cretinous flagard of Balrog shart. Well, Death Adder's coming up shortly, and this dragon is about to make all of our lives a great deal easier. I'd beat him hand to hand and everything, but I mean, that would be disrespecting Makoto Uchida's obvious wishes and intentions for this fine creature. Why would it be here if you didn't mean for me to use it? To wound me, you say? You frightful churl. Sweet Makoto would never dream of such black-hearted bastardry. Here come some more knights. What the shields for, boys? Decoration? Family heirlooms? You pair of canned dipshits. They do have quite the disarming range with those swords, so don't take any chances. Cook 'em early. Spare disappointment. Right then, just a couple more of those reprobate gnomes to send to hell, and then we got us a Death Adder to fight. Short game this one, even on the Genesis where they added an extra stage and a new boss. It was kind of my go-to thing to beat if I had a spare 15 minutes while I was waiting around to go out or go to school or whatever. Oh, this boss theme. Oh, this boss theme is so fucking good. Oh my god. And check out the awesome reanimation sequence of Death Adder in the background while I'm dealing with his doormen here. A nest of snakes slithering into a pile of corpses from which he rises, a legendary golden axe in hand, ready to deal with your rebellious bullshit. The dude is made of snakes. Alright, let the monkey see the dragon! Right in my damn face, you dumb bastard reptile. Now I've got to go from here straight to the eyebrow bar, don't I? Wanted a rest really, but never the fuck mind. On his own merits, Death Adder isn't particularly difficult. He just takes a hell of a kicking, but it's a grand idea to get shot of his elite skeleton guard before you start messing about with him. The only thing you really have to be wary of is his lightning ground surge there, but it's easy to lead. Look at how he strung the king up. What a bastard. Dude's not even struggling, he's just completely resigned to the fact that he's been shown up in front of his whole kingdom, hanging upside down, no longer a man in the eyes of his wife. Probably had a bit of a fear wee, a few droplets of which are skirting down past his nipples, heading straight for his nostrils now. Please hurry. Yeah, the Genesis port was the first version I ever played of this, and it was quite a surprise to learn that there was far more content in that than in the original arcade version. Incredibly rare considering that most arcade ports heading to home consoles had so much neutered and chopped out of them. As I say, added another level and final boss and a separate survival mode called the Duel. Depending on what difficulty you went for, you also got to face Death Adder's son and his granddad, Deathbringer, who was a real son of a bitch, despite his erotic pink underwear. That's your lot, sunshine? Shit. How does that irony taste, my friend? Like your own blood? Which does actually taste like iron, so... you're already gone. Look at this! Can't even free him in a dignified manner. Straight on his ass. I bet he's a fun king. Do you get that impression? The clownish way this game treats him suggests that to me. See, you knew back then which games had the real effort put into them if they could be bothered to spell congratulations properly. But here's your real reward. One of the maddest fuck-mothering credit sequences to crawl out of the late 80s. These kids are just hanging around, spunking a few quarters on Great Axe when the monsters from Golden Axe turn up to take revenge on its blatant intellectual property theft. You can see an advert for Last Survivor in the background there that came out the same year, which was a multiplayer network deathmatch game designed for 8 players in the arcade. 8! In 1989! Amazing. And of course these idiots have just destroyed the only gateway back into their own world, so they just do the only thing that comes naturally to them and start chasing these poor little bastards through the streets. What in the fuck is happening? Yoshida loved himself a crazy credit sequence. The one from the arcade version of Altered Beast had a similar theme of purebred lunacy that left you not really knowing whether to be angry or not that you'd spent a week's worth of your lunch money to be subjected to it. Check out my strength. I've got a strength of 242.0, fuck you very much. Who knows how this damn ranking system calculates anything. Doesn't matter to me, so long as I'm on top of it. A+++, that's not even a real grade. That's what the teacher gives you to distract you in the middle of your school shooting rampage to give the police snipers a chance to move into position.